What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 16 of the DCXP podcast. Joe, Mike, Savannah back at it again. It's actually 16.2 because the first attempt we lost the audio. So this time, hopefully, it gets through to you guys.
I kind of wanna just really quickly say the story of how we lost the audio, because every episode we do, we talk for 30 minutes to an hour, and then we say bye, and we don't jump off the Zoom. We talk for a little bit, right? For some reason, the last two episodes, Joe just decides to peace out literally off the Zoom after we say bye. It was just that's what we do.
We end the podcast. We're all done talking. We don't talk to each other again.
We literally end the podcast. We literally end the podcast and say, "Oh, we did good, blah blah blah." It's then we chat about random stuff for maybe 10 minutes or something. Joe just pieced the last two episodes, and he did it we recorded on Friday night, hoping to get it up for you guys Saturday, so you could listen before the game. And he just pieced. Me and Savannah were left there. We started talking. Joe came back, and then Joe's like, "Okay, I got to go again." He's pieced. And then me and Savannah talked, and I saw my computer have 5% battery.
So and you kept talking, didn't you?
No, I saw that, and we were talking about a subject, and I was about to wrap it up after I saw 5, and then it got to 3, and then it just ended. And then I got the computer back online, and it said these files might be corrupt, and I was like, all right, I think I still got it. And then it just wouldn't upload, and it wouldn't condense for me. So, and then Joe tried to salvage it by sending me the files in the morning, and I just wasn't awake. So now, episode 16.2 or 16 2.0, whatever we want to call it. So, okay, now we got to get our minds right for what we were going to talk about. We previewed the game. Now we're going to talk about what happened.
Well, can we start with something that was lost in the audio files that I wish we had forever? That I accurately predicted the final score to the exact.
Actually, can I correct you?
Oh no.
So, well, first of all, people, we said this on the last podcast. Savannah, when predicting scores, I think the last 2 weeks, she was off on each team by a point, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So basically, she predicted essentially I think 21-13, and it was 20-14 for the Eagles game. Mm-hmm. You predicted, and honestly, I might have the audio to chop it, just put in this place right here.
The score is going to be, and I'm saying this just so I have my 1 point grace on both sides of it here. Okay. 31, 23, 31, 24. One more point there. Tampa Bay.
Oof.
I know. Tough.
You said when we were doing the prediction, you went last. You go 31, or no, you said 24, and then you go, oh no, you said 23, and you go, no, I want 24. So you changed it at the very last minute. So you did predict 31-24.
Okay, well, this only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but that's pretty darn good.
No, it's pretty good. And you texted that to our group, and I said go to Vegas because that's just ridiculous.
No, she's a walking score predictor. I mean,
she's a walking scoregami. But yeah, so we predicted the game. We gave our predictions. Me and Joe were bullish and said they were going to – no, we all said they were going to lose except Joe. Joe said they were going to win.
Joe said they were going to win.
They almost damn did. I'll tell you that.
But here's the thing. We all made our predictions before we knew the news of Taylor Heinke actually playing. So, Joe, you haven't written anything for the blog, right?
No, that's coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned.
Well, I mean, I guess you can give the preview of it, your overall thoughts from it, if you were just outline it for us.
Well, my 3 predictions on how to win the game, first team to 17 was one of them. Tampa scored 17 first. Tampa was winning at halftime. That was the other one of them. And then I believe the third one was stop the run. They couldn't stop the run. I think Tampa averaged 5 yards on the ground. So, aside from the disappointments, Taylor Heinke played unbelievable. And obviously, if you're listening and you watch the game, you already know that. But we did not think it was going to carry over from Carolina to Tampa. And it literally carried over exactly how he was playing in Carolina. So I don't know what that means for him and the team moving forward, but it's definitely, they definitely have like a good foundation to build on moving forward, right? So it's nice to see.
Well, yeah, and I think I think there was a couple good. I was praying there was a good photo of him diving for the pylon on that unbelievable touchdown run. I mean, not a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL, and I don't say that as hyperbole. Like, not a lot can make that play. And I was like, I hope there's a good, because like, just my graphic mind goes, and I was like, okay, there's got to be a good photo. So I made him like a graphic, just relaying his stats. And yeah, I mean, that's wild when you look at him. 352 total yards. He had a pick, which really wasn't his fault, but I mean, he was taking math courses at ODU for a degree that I don't think any of us here would want. I don't know. I think it's advanced like mathematics or something like that. Yeah. But yeah. So I think you mentioned running the ball. I was thinking the whole time we're always talking about getting to Tom Brady, but if they can't stop the run, we let Leonard Fournette go for, what was it, 93 yards or something like that. And that guy is
running dudes over. He was, they were like tired. You could tell the defense was drained by the end of the game, right? Like he was. I keep doing that Alex Smith thing, by the way, where he says right after every sentence, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, that was also on the podcast that never saw the light of day. Joe going off on that.
But no, they couldn't get any pressure though. They couldn't do either. Like it's kind of frustrating. They're the number 2 defense in the NFL. Like, what are you guys doing? I think they need like a solid linebacker in there. They need like a beast, like a Roquan Smith, somebody who just controls the run game by himself. Like, not by himself, but you know what I mean, right?
Like, no, they have pieces they need to definitely go on offense. But I was gonna say, Savannah, what was your reaction watching Taylor Heinke? Because I feel like the whole nation, if you weren't even a true Washington fan, they were rooting for that guy.
Oh my gosh, yes. And all season long, all I wanted to see, and I know there were so many quarterback issues, and that was like the big thing going into this game, but all I wanted to see was someone throw the ball down the field. And finally, we got to see what that would be like to have a quarterback that is going to play like, we're going to play long ball here instead of short ball. Like, I don't want to watch 5-yard passes any longer. Throw the ball down the field and see what happens. And Cam Sims had two big drops, at least that. But Taylor Heinke was putting up numbers. People were catching the ball. That's exciting football and obviously works. That's what I wanted to see into this game. And that's what I want to see moving forward. And finally seeing that, I was like, okay, yes, thank you. I'm not crazy to think that this is what they should be doing here.
Well, there was a couple things. I think we talked about it on the last pod that we didn't get to share with you, but we were talking about how Grant and Danny on the radio, now they have the main afternoon slot. I want to get to their interview they had with Ron Rivera today, which was really long. It was like I feel like it was a 25-minute interview. It was really long. But they also had ODU's coach, the guy who coached Taylor Heinke at ODU on, I want to say last week or 2 weeks ago. And he just hyped him up. He was like, he's a 5-read quarterback. He can, people say he doesn't have a good arm. I think he has an above average arm, but there was a couple of throws where, well, first of all, to that point, he looked really comfortable in the offense. And like, I immediately say, yes, he should at least be the backup next year. Like, sorry, Kyle Allen, like Taylor Heinke looked like the best quarterback we had all season in a playoff game in his first start. The other start he had was like a meaningless game last year or 2 years ago. But I lost my train of thought. What I was going to say.
Well, that was the best game we've seen from a quarterback all season. Like, Jesus, that was easily the best game we've seen from a quarterback, right?
Yeah. Oh, so what? Yeah. Like I said, it was. It was better than anything Dwayne Haskins put together. Kyle Allen looked okay a couple times. Alex Smith couldn't move. So this guy was making all the throws, and he had the first throw he made, one of his first throws was the drop to Cam Sims. It was like a 50-yard pass, and it hit him right in the hands. And then you're like, oh, okay, like Savannah was saying. It's like, we're throwing the ball down the field. And then he had one throw to Cam Sims. He was like wide open. He caught it. But I kind of was like, where's this ball going? It looked like he kind of just drifted, and I was like, oh, God, that's like an overthrow. And then Cam Sims is wide open, runs like another 20 yards. But, yeah, like I said, I think he guaranteed him a spot on the roster, and I would say at a minimum the backup. We have plenty of podcast episodes to get to in the offseason. We're not going to try to cram this offseason into one. We're not going to talk about that much like that. But People are saying he should be the unquestioned starter, which I think is a little wild.
Mm-hmm.
I would like them to go back to 2011. If you remember, a guy named Matt Flynn came in for Week 17. Meaningless game. I think the Packers had already made the playoffs, and he threw for 480 yards and 6 touchdowns. Got paid by Seattle, and then got beat out by a rookie named Russell Wilson. So let's just not. Brock Osweiler is another example. There's a list. If it was that easy, I think more people would get it. So I'm scared to go into the next season being like, Taylor Heineke, yep, we're not going to try to address the quarterback at all.
Yeah, no, that's silly. Right now, everyone's all hyped up on Taylor Heineke. Give it a few weeks. Let's start seeing how the offseason plays out, who's getting money, who's not, what happens with the draft, and then see how we feel about Taylor Heineke. Let's not make any decisions right now.
So before the last thing we'll touch on with the Washington football team, before we move on, I won't say now because I have a couple other things possibly to get to with them. But it will be interesting to see when that kind of excitement wears off, the in the moment excitement, and then we can actually say we need to figure out quarterback because there's, I think, a handful of options to look into. But the other thing I want to talk about, oh man, what was I gonna say? The Chase Young, how he said he wants Tom Brady and then didn't get a sack. I hope everybody knows, like, any slander is not allowed because Chase Young put up a very good year. He's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and I kind of had a weird gut feeling that he was going to be very ineffective and people were going to harp on it. So, Joe, did you already talk about the defense? Sorry if I blanked.
I just talked about the things that they didn't do to win, but like stopping Tampa and stuff. But like Chase played fine. I mean, it's just kind of like, you'd like to see a sack or two or something. But, he's a rookie. It's fine.
Deron Payne.
Payne,
okay.
Payne stepped up. Payne was unbelievable.
I know where my head was with going to the defense. Was that Ryan Kerrigan's last game?
Oh, right. Sorry. Probably with Washington. Why would they bring him back? He doesn't. I mean, he's awesome. If you're listening, Ryan, we love you. But I mean,
yeah, I don't know how he came out. He came out the gates with limited snaps and got, I think, like 4 sacks on very limited snaps.
No, and the statistic was like highest rush percentage, most sack rate of anybody playing the same amount of snaps in the league or something. Like, he maximized his role, but I think you could potentially even upgrade in the draft, just get some fresher legs, and it might be best for him to see what else is out there.
I think the game in itself was just kind of like you're watching, be like, man, we have this defense we know we're going to add to. They have a lot of cap room. Alex Smith is most likely, I think he's going to retire.
He has to.
Because one, they can get out of his contract. They can get out of his contract, I'm pretty sure. I think, Joe, can you correct me if I'm wrong there?
Yeah, they can get like a $15 million relief from him. I think they would hold like $6 million in dead cap space.
Okay. I was pretty sure it was this summer. So I think one way or another, he's either retiring or they're gonna be like, hey, we're just gonna cut you. And I don't see him getting so I really think they should bring him back immediately. Like, be a QB coach or a quality control coach or just in the front office. I don't know what job, but like, keep him here because he's a good voice to have in the building. Like, that's, I think, priority number one with Alex Smith, because you're going to either get cut or you're going to retire. Next thing is stay with the Washington football team. But also, so with the Ron Rivera interview, which I touched on a little bit, I don't know who heard. Savannah, did you hear it, or I don't know if anybody listened to it?
Bits and pieces, and I saw quotes all over Twitter.
Gotcha. So Ron Rivera essentially said if he could go back, he'd create more of a competition at quarterback. And I think he basically said, like, no, we had to just give Dwayne essentially every first team rep in training camp because we kind of committed to possibly using him as the starter. And then, he just basically said 2020 is hindsight, no pun intended, because literally 2020 is hindsight now. But yeah, it's kind of. I think that was the main topic. They kind of one of the main topics they drilled, and him just being excited with all the young players developing. I think he said 28 players were a certain age and younger. I'm trying to think of what the number. I think it might have been 23. That sounds kind of crazy. I don't know if that's right, but 20 like 4 and younger. I think 28 players got significant time. So yeah, we'll have plenty of opportunity to get possible guests on to talk more detailed about their off-season plans, but for now I think it's just anxious to see what happens, because I think there's a report that said he's going to go to Dan Snyder and give him his plan for, they need a GM apparently. I don't think they need a GM. I think Kyle Smith's good enough for that role, but and then whatever they're going to do at quarterback. So, but the one thing I'll sign off on with the Washington football team is, I was just thinking of this. To get people to sign with you, don't you have to have your quarterback set? Like, how are you going to sell to a wide receiver like Allen Robinson, who flat out said, I don't want to come back to Chicago today, essentially? Hey, sign with us. Who's your quarterback?
You just say, give me a second. And you throw on the Taylor Heinke highlights from the playoff game.
As funny as that is, I'm trying to be serious. I just think you need to have something. That's why I think they're going to do something. They're going to trade for a Stafford. They're going to maybe say, wink, wink, we're signing Dak if he walks, if he doesn't get signed. Like, it's one of those, like...
Can I just say something about that? So his brother, Dak Prescott's brother, gets
Tad?
He gets like death threats from Cowboys fans all the time.
Yeah, because he does... I'm not saying death threats are okay. I want to make that clear. But he does tweet some stuff to piss people off. Like, he's basically like,
I don't know anything about his tweets. I was just looking at his posts, and then it was like Skins fans saying, or Washington fans saying, like, hey, you wouldn't get that disrespect in Washington. And he's like, or they're like, tell Dak that we'd take care of him up here or something. And he's like, oh, I've talked to him about it. Like, he had that response one time, So it's like, damn, is Dak trying to come to Washington right now?
Well, if they let him hit the free agent market, I can see them throwing some cash at him. That is for sure.
I don't know. I think Savannah's frozen.
I don't know. Or she's just very much enjoying this Dak Prescott conversation. She's back.
She's back.
Okay, we're on a Wi-Fi hotspot to my cell phone, so fingers crossed.
Oh my gosh.
We're pulling out all the stops.
Let's hope that up the audio.
Oh, we'll power through. We'll figure this out.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
So the last thing. So the last thing. Okay, yeah. What I was saying about Dak and Tad. So Dak short for Dakota. I'm pretty sure. And then I'm just thinking, what is Tad short for? And I was like thinking, I'm pretty sure Dakota, like just like the Adventures of Dakota and Tadpole. I don't know why that pops in my head. Like that's like the Dakota and Tadpole, like the Adventures of Dakota and Tadpole.
I don't even know what that is.
It's nothing. It's something I just made up because I'm weird. But like that's like Tad is such a funny name.
Is Tad short for Theodore?
Thaddeus.
Well, it's spelled TAD.
I think it's Thaddeus, but it's like short form.
That would make sense.
Okay, well.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sorry, that was a dumb tangent that I just forced on. But yeah, so I think they got to know what their quarterback's going to be if they're going to sell to free agents. That's why I think Alex Smith was traded for, I think, Super Bowl week, where you make a trade and you can't say it on social media. Like, it can't be official until free agency starts. I just remember when free agency finally started, and at the time the Redskins had to actually say, we traded for Alex Smith, and they like rolled out all their stuff they've probably made for like 3 weeks at that point. And it's like, we've had this content just sitting here and we've been waiting to use it. Anyway, so yeah, Washington football team, good season, all things considered. It was a wild. I don't think Ron Rivera will win Coach of the Year, but I think he definitely should get strong consideration for it.
Yeah, I just wish we didn't have that Haskins guy, right? God, that guy sucked.
Do you think he gets a job?
No,
Somebody has to. You don't think he gets signed at all?
I don't
This
see how.
season?
Not this
anybody gets
season.
signed.
No.
Okay. Like no, this
Let's-
upcoming season. I don't
But
see
yeah,
it.
like for 2021, you don't see it. You don't.
I mean, prove me wrong, Dwayne.
No, he definitely. I mean, he's young, but I don't know which team's gonna give him. Like, nobody's gonna give him a shot at starting. I think like he's a backup. All right,
Is the XFL coming back?
that is true, and people have made a lot of those jokes about how he could join his former Ohio State buddy Cardell Jones.
Cardell Jones. Yeah.
What's his nickname again? The rifle.
12 gauge.
12 gauge. Yeah.
Pretty cool nickname. That's a nickname, honestly, of any quarterback. Like, come on.
All right. Well, let's
Oh wait, one more thing on the Washington football team. Did you see Ron Rivera is now the longest tenured coach in the NFC East?
yeah.
Officially.
Yes,
With
that
a
is
year and 10 days under his belt.
So he's the best and the longest tenured. It's pretty cool.
Coach of the year right there.
that is somewhat just. Oh yeah, I mean, well, speaking of, because you brought that up, I'm just going to segue this into more national football talk.
Perfect. That's what I'm here for.
Doug Pedersen is no longer the coach of the Eagles. That is why what Savannah said is true, that now Ron Rivera is the longest tenured.
Do you think he knew it was coming?
I never know what to believe, but I think...
You think that's why he played Sudfeld? He's like, screw you guys.
No,
I think... fired anyways.
Well, the report was he didn't like being told what to do.
Yeah, I thought it was one of those like mutual, like, I'll leave type of things. Because he kind of made like a statement that everyone was like, oh, did you ask to leave? Or was this mutual? So maybe it was kind of like an FU, like, I don't want to be here anyway.
Well, there was a report that basically said it's him and Howie Roseman don't get along or something, and Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, basically was trying to figure out who he should believe. And I'm like, is this like going to the principal's office in school, and like you're sitting down like, no, he did it. He hit me in the schoolyard or whatever the hell happened. I don't know. It's just a wild situation, and they do not have a good situation. We were talking about, Deshaun Watson rumors and stuff like that, like how Houston's not a good destination with their assets, if you will. Philly's not that much better. I mean, they got a possible broken quarterback and not a lot of cap space and some dysfunction for sure. So it'll be interesting.
Really?
And then other NFL news, Savannah is a Steelers fan, and they did not fare too well against the Cleveland Browns, who had their first playoff win in, I want to say, 25 years.
Yeah, that's correct. Everyone's due their time. It just wasn't the Steelers' time.
Not the Steelers' time.
No. It was a bad weekend for me to be a Washington football team fan and a Steelers fan, and we'll get them next year.
What thoughts on Juju's comments before the game?
It made me not really want to sign him anymore. Well, after he got his ass kicked a couple weeks ago, I didn't want to sign him because I was like, damn, dude, stop dancing on people's logos. And
well, we talked about this a little bit with, me and Savannah talked about it on the Instagram Live, which by the way, I'll just rehash and say thanks for everybody who joined that. Maybe we can do that in the
and loyal listeners from
from Austria and
England.
And
Danke Zephyr, or whatever that phrase is. Thanks for listening.
Cody from Arkansas. We have several loyal listeners that we have to shout out.
Thanks, guys.
But yeah, so me and Savannah talked about Juju on the live, kind of saying my point of view was I would like the branding and like doing all that like TikTok stuff, like save for the off season. Like you kind of that week of prep, like I feel like I just want my players to be like focused. And we had Dwayne Haskins, and he's like a distraction. I just I don't know. I like Juju. I think he's a fun person. I think he's a team player, but I actually don't mind his comments before the game, which he was like, the Browns, they're the Browns. I actually like playing. I think he was just trying to say like the Browns, like if he was playing the Washington football team, he'd be like, they're the Washington football team or whatever. I think people took it as like, oh, you're calling them the Browns because they've stuck for so long or whatever. And then all I could think about during the game was if the Steelers came back and won, his comments are golden. Like, it's hilarious because like the Browns are the Browns, but then if they don't win, it looks really bad for him.
Yeah, poor Juju. I really like Juju. I think he's fun. And we said it earlier with Dwayne Haskins. I think I said this on the live too. Like when you walk the walk, you get to talk the talk. And he walked the walk for a bit there. So he was talking the talk, dancing on logos and stuff. And he's relaxed a little bit with that. And he's kind of stopped walking the walk. So I don't know. I like Juju. I think he's fun. I think he's a good guy to have on the team. He obviously brings some fun to the locker room. So I won't hate on him too much. And the Browns are the Browns. So you know what? He gets it.
Yeah, I don't see the Browns winning next week because they're playing a guy named Patrick Mahomes. So I hope they had their fun. If they somehow win, then I'll eat crow. But I'll get a tattoo on my forehead. I don't know what we're supposed to be doing.
Oh, don't make that bet.
Start doing that. Also, one more thing I want to talk about with Pittsburgh. They're in such an interesting spot with me, and I know we want to kind of touch on this quick, but if Pittsburgh wants to move on from quarterback, they literally can't do it unless Big Ben decides to retire. If he doesn't want to retire and they want to move on, if they cut Big Ben, they owe him $23 million in dead cap.
I thought it was 42. Or no, he has a $42 million cap hit.
It's a $42 million cap hit. And if they cut him to save money, they still owe him $23 million against the cap.
I think they haven't been, I'm almost positive they have not been afraid to do that. They did that with somebody in recent memory. They cut somebody and they were like, we're just going to eat the cap hit. Or maybe it was like Antonio Brown that they were going to do that with. Yeah. And they ended up trading him because they got the Raiders to give him draft picks, which I still think is. I think that's what it was. I think they were like, we're going to cut him and we're going to take the $20 million cap hit because he's that big of a pain in the ass. But yeah, that's interesting. I thought you were going to go down the road of saying the Washington football team need to trade for him. No, I thought that's where you were going with that, and I was like, going to stop.
No,
I love it.
Actually, I mean, I wouldn't even mind it if they could just protect him. Then, hey.
A crying Big Ben has broken my heart. The video of him talking to Marquise Pouncey, and he's sobbing. I can't handle it. I never want to see him cry again.
Yeah, that, if you haven't seen it, he's on the bench, and he just goes like, sorry, basically. Because they've been together for 10 years. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I didn't realize Pouncey was in the league that long. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the Steelers got. I mean, that game got out of hand real fast. I was watching it just like, this is not real life. I'm trying to think of any other games that Lamar Jackson got his first playoff win. What other games happened? We talked about the Washington football team, obviously.
Oh, on Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to get to. That was surreal, and there was two broadcasts, and it was like, if you watch the one broadcast, they're explaining everything because they're trying to like explain it to kids. And then on the other broadcast, it's Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, who are the number one CBS team. But everybody just kind of wanted to watch it on Nick because it was like such a weird experience.
It was so weird. I actually watched half of it that way just because I was like, what's this thing all about? And they put like Drew Brees' head in like the sandy thing. And I was like, this is getting real weird.
This is weird.
Yeah.
They had the animated the CGI slime when somebody scored a touchdown. It was just weird to watch, and like if you got past the explaining of things at the beginning, I think you were fine. Nate Burleson, who works for NFL Network on Good Morning Football, he did a phenomenal job, I thought, on TV as the host. He's really good at what he does. But they also had, I don't know, the two. They had Ian Eagle's son. I forget his first name, but he sounds just like his dad, who's a CBS broadcaster. And then it's just like Chris Collinsworth's son, Jack Collinsworth.
Yeah,
sounds just like him. It's borderline creepy. But then there was a girl in the middle. She was like one of the, I guess she's a Nick star or TV star. I'm not who she was, but she was like on the young side because they kept making young people jokes with her. But yeah, so that was kind of weird. The Saints were close with the Bears for a little bit, and then they pulled away because the Bears are not good.
And Twitter was hilarious. They're like, if we want kids to start liking football, why do we make them watch the Bears? I lost it. I was like, wow, Twitter's so funny.
Well, we knew, I just, based on my work, we were like, the memes are going to be hot and heavy today. The SpongeBob filled stuff, and it was really, really good. Found out one of my coworkers, my manager actually, I think he's like mid-30s, and he's never seen SpongeBob.
A disgrace.
Yeah, shaking my head. But
That's crazy.
Yeah, we had fun with that. I think I dropped in, the meme of SpongeBob like with his hand on the rock, and he's like, like that one. So I sent that through and said, "This is our reactions when you said you haven't seen SpongeBob." But,
yeah, it was good. It was a good time to be a sports fan, watching the Nick broadcast while also old enough to be on Twitter. I felt like that was the perfect game not meant for me, but meant for me.
Yeah, solid. I didn't watch too much of it, but I was watching it. Mike was watching a lot of it. I walked downstairs. Mike was watching it, laughing, having a good time. So
it was also made for Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't. It was like staring at the sun. You're like, why am I doing this? But it's intriguing. But it was definitely a funny. And then I'm trying to think if I just went through all the games. Am I missing a game that happened? There was 6 of them. So,
I mean,
the Rams beat the Seahawks. The Seahawks did not. Russ, they say let Russ cook. He kind of burnt the chicken. If we're using that analogy, he did not play well. And the funny thing is, people complain about him not getting MVP votes every year. He slowly played himself out of the MVP towards the end of the season, and I don't think he's going to get a vote again, if I were to guess.
Probably
because not. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to win unanimously. So,
you don't think Patrick Mahomes has any votes?
I mean, let's be real here. Like, why? Like, if you had to vote, you have one vote. Who are you voting for?
I mean, think about Mahomes, but I understand what you're saying. But
like,
dude
it's like
went, what, 14-2,
and I think
15-1.
Well, Mahomes actually had a better record but you have to consider the context. He played without Devontae Adams for 4 games, who is the best receiver in the league this year. He had 18 touchdowns in 14 games. That's absurd. But yeah, so that was our NFL talk. I'm trying to any other thing on the NFL, if anybody has any random thoughts before we move on.
Nah.
Okay. So Washington football, the national title is being played, I think, at this moment. I think we all said probably Alabama was going to win. I don't actually know what the score is right now if it's on.
It was 7-7 when I checked, but it's 14-7 now, Alabama.
Gotcha. I picked Alabama. Somebody put $54,000 on the money line for Ohio State to net them $183,000. And then another report came in that somebody put $500,000 on the Buckeyes money line to win $1.3 million.
That's just stupid.
Can you imagine having that kind of cash to just throw down the drain?
I can't. It just makes me so angry.
Just throw that in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why it made me so mad.
Oh. Well, speaking of Bitcoin, the Russell Okung finally got his wish, and he's getting like part of his bonus in Bitcoin.
Oh, he's getting half of his contract in Bitcoin.
Oh, I thought it was just half of a bonus.
$6.5 million. He's got a thing that's transferring it into Bitcoin.
That's pretty funny. I don't know why he doesn't, like, he says, I want to get paid in Bitcoin. Why don't you just take the money?
Put it in Bitcoin, yeah.
I was like, okay.
Maybe there's some tax thing with that, though. Maybe he can get taxed less on his earnings.
Yeah, there's got to be something there, because that just seems too logical to be like, oh, you got paid $10 million? Just buy $10 million of Bitcoin. Okay, so some quick.
By the way, he's already made like $50 million off of that. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably very, very wealthy at this point.
He's not 50, but he's made like 10 mil. Okay,
so some other DC news. So real quick, Capitals start the season this week. That's kind of weird. The NHL is just going to inject themselves into this chaos. And then the Nationals. So two things so updated Nationals talk. So the Mets made a move. They traded for Francisco Lindor. We talked about it on the podcast. That didn't make it. But yeah, like you were saying, Savannah, it basically, we were basically saying it's like they didn't give up anything for him in the grand scheme
they
of things.
handed it away.
Yeah.
They handed away Francisco Lindor and Cookie Carrasco, two faces of the Cleveland baseball team's franchise. So I guess with the name, they're getting rid of all their stars too, as Cleveland does, and gave them to the Mets for absolutely nothing. And now the Nats have to be worried. So
with that said, I'm gonna, before we get to them signing Kyle Schwarber, which is a interesting move. Somebody brought up, I think it was Danny Rouillet, the afternoon host for 106.7 The Fan. He said a buddy brought up to him, he's like, why not try to trade for Jose Ramirez? And it was just not, it wasn't a rumor. It was just like, why not call Cleveland up? And I was like, yes, I will take Jose Ramirez on my team. If they're just giving away people, I don't know what it would cost to get Jose Ramirez. You can have Carter Kieboom, from all I'm concerned, but
oh god, yeah.
And then that was the other guy they were talking about, Suarez from the Reds. I don't know. I saw that report. I was like, I thought that was already reported that they were like interested in him. And then a report came out today saying like they were interested in him. I was like, thank you. I already knew that. I don't know why but so Kyle Schwarber, do we like that move?
It half addresses an issue in the outfield. You'll put him in left field. You'll put Soto in right field. You need Victor Robles to step up defensively. You need Kyle Schwarber to step up defensively, which he hasn't always done. But he is a big bat, and he adds that. And he's a right-handed hitter, which they have a lot of left-handed hitters. They needed help right-handed. So he adds the bat. That's good. With the Josh Bell signing, you're definitely adding to your lineup there. It's just figuring out now, slowly putting together a baseball team, who are your starters and what's going on with Carter Kieboom.
Well,
so they're slowly addressing issues, but
the Nationals had a really funny post. So the if you're on like the sneakers app and you get a pair of kicks, it's like got 'em. So I'm gonna just show this real quick. So it says got 'em.
I love that.
And it's Josh Bell and Kyle Schwarber, and their caption was, "If you hear any noise, it's just me and the new boys bopping," with the bomb emoji and the bell emoji. And which is true. They added a lot of power to their lineup with these two guys if they go to their 2019 forms, because both guys were not ideal last year. And I kind of chalk it up to a kind of a weird season. So
Schwarber slumps more than most people, right? Like he's a big slumper, but he starts just getting super hot, right? And he just hits everything, especially in the postseason, it seems like. So
I think we're giving up average right now for strikeouts and home runs. That's what kind of this lineup is. But you give Soto, technically this is protection for him. Like if you walk Soto, you're putting one of these guys up possibly, and you're getting a guy on base, and these guys can both hit bombs. So I actually the Nats did a good job once the signing happened. Having content ready is always a key thing on your social team, and he was going toe to toe with Bryce Harper in Nats Park in that home run derby. I mean, he honestly, let's be real, he probably should have won. Bryce Harper got away with some stuff. I'll say that now. It was. I was watching him like, man, they're letting him pitch before that ball leaves the yard. But then I saw the home run Kyle Schwarber, I think a couple seasons ago in the playoffs, hit one out of Wrigley, like over the scoreboard. It was a monstrous shot. So like I said, these guys are both power bats. I'm still waiting. I think there's another move to be made. I don't know where it's going to happen. I don't think it's
a big move yet. He always has one that is always unexpected but perfect. We haven't seen it yet.
This is probably not going to happen because of some of the other stuff. But DJ LeMahieu's pissed off at the Yankees. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I mean, I'm trying to think. It's like I don't know where DJ LeMahieu. Like we have why am I always blanking on his name? Garcia. I don't think you need DJ LeMahieu, but it's kind of like oh, he's not happy in New York. I just get scared. Like who else can sign him? I don't want one of the rivals to do it. So so Nationals making moves. We're still waiting on another one. And then lastly, Wizards are 2-8 now.
Thomas Bryant just tore his ACL.
Yep, and if you didn't see the video, I wouldn't recommend you watching it because it doesn't look good. Somebody told me that because I missed it. Somebody's like, "Hey, did you see Thomas Bryant's injury?" I'm like, "Nah." And I went back and looked, and they said basically it looks like he rolls his ankle and then his knee hyperextends. And immediately when I saw his knee, it didn't look like a normal hyperextension. You could tell it moved a little differently. So
I hate those videos.
Yeah,
they gross me out so much.
Well,
I'm weirdly into not into seeing injuries, but like knowing now, like if you see a leg move a certain way, you're like, okay, that's an ACL. Like you kind of can tell almost right away now.
You're not into that. You just know what it is.
No, I'm into like learning about like, for example, do you know the test if you don't know if you tore your ACL or not, you like if you can move your knee easily like side to side. That's why if you see a knee get hit from the side and it bends that way, like that means the ACL probably snapped. But if it gets hit from the front, you probably tore your MCL, which is on the side of your knee. Dr. Michael, I know.
Yeah, 0 classes, 0 medical, but
I'm just into learning about that stuff if I get the chance. Anyway, but what I was gonna say with that is that they are in a slump. Russell Westbrook's out for a week because he apparently has had a quad injury. For the season.
So why was Kamaya Beal, or I'm sorry, I don't know her first name if I said it wrong.
Kamaya is her first name, isn't it?
Is it? Okay. Why is she tweeting out eye emojis all the time?
Like, I think she was talking about something else. I think she clarified that.
Why do they do that? I don't know what you're talking about. And I know you don't care, but it's like, why even tweet?
Here's the thing: those people, whether they're like the girlfriend, wife of the player, or like a friend of the player, or something like that, like they know what.
It's very confusing. I don't know if you mean that you're texting somebody that's a player on another team, and you want Brad to get traded, and you guys are all in on being traded. Is there a rumor we don't know about? Stop doing that.
No, if I was a wife, girlfriend, whatever of a player, I'm tweeting eye emojis every game. That is funny stuff. Because then everyone's all up like, "Ooh, what was it?" She's like, "Oh, it was nothing. I was talking about something."
I'm stressed out. I'm stressed out because of it. I'm stressed out because all the Laker fans are tweeting, "Oh, Bradley Beal to the Lakers confirmed."
Hey,
even
Lakers!
Though it's not
Lakers,
I know, even though it's not possible.
It's literally not possible. They have nobody I would want.
Annoying. All these other team fans, the Heat, the Nets, the Lakers.
Here's the thing: have you? So me and Joe used to do. I mean, I still go on it occasionally. There's a message board for Wizards fans called Real GM.
I don't want it.
And it's very annoying. It's kind of listen. If we have any Real GM listeners, I'm sorry. A lot of you guys are wildly wrong on some stuff, but they have a trade thread and they just go through these trade scenarios. What they're imagining a package for Beal coming back is incredible. Like they're like, we want this star player, like 3 first-round picks. I'm like, y'all are listen. Beal's gonna get a lot if he is traded, but just pipe down the pipe dreams. They're like, we want all these picks. They basically like if Miami wants them, you're giving me Tyler Hero and probably Bam Adebayo. Like you're not getting them without giving up something. But anyway, I don't want to even get into that realm with that. But Beal leads the league in scoring by like 5 points a game. He averaged 50 points a game this week because of 2 games, and he didn't win Player of the Week.
Why would he? You know,
he didn't win.
What more does he have to do?
I mean, that's stupid though. Like 50 points a game. like see, I know it's only 2 games, but still, like 50.
Won? I mean, Curry didn't win. He was putting up 1 billion points a game over there in Golden State.
Jason Tatum won Eastern.
Okay.
But
telling you, man, nobody cares about points anymore. You could probably go out there. You could probably go out there and average 5 points a game. Honestly, Mike. I mean, these guys aren't playing any defense.
Honestly, like this is gonna sound arrogant as you know what.
Oh, I know it's coming, but go ahead.
If you played me in an NBA game, I'm scoring a couple points.
No, you're not.
100%. And first of all, give me like a month. Dude. Give me a month to play like around a little bit.
Mike is the most. Mike, it's like you could blow. I was gonna say some choice words. You could blow air on him as he's driving to the lane, and he would call a foul. Honestly,
That's not
I
true.
swear, I've
Not
never
true.
met somebody.
That's not true.
Who calls more
Joe's
fouls than
Joe's still salty from like the last game we played 1-on-1, where he fouled me, and he does not believe he did. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry you fouled me. And he could not get it because it was like towards the end of the game, and he can't get over it. And then I won. So
all I have to say is where I used to work, we had this debate all the time of people that think that they would either get a hit in baseball, score a point in an NBA game, score a goal in hockey. Like there is no way.
Savannah, in my like prime of playing, which I would say was 24 in grad school, when I was playing on like the A court with like the actual college team.
Oh my God.
I was getting buckets. I could pull up from 30.
I'm sure you were.
And I haven't, not too, well, actually a lot has changed. I could, if you just spotted me up and hit me for an open shot, I'm probably making it. I can make more threes than Ben Simmons, I guarantee you.
He's actually probably right about that. I mean, you could probably stroke Mike out.
But I'll bleep that out, don't worry.
All right, you know what? We'll just move on from this topic. Seriously.
No,
it's so
you're about
stupid.
to give me a compliment.
I gotta wrap up anyways. You know that I told you that.
You're about to give me a compliment, dude. Anyway, but I want to say, like, Savannah's probably gonna get mad at this. So the debate of like, can you get a hit in baseball and stuff? I will never ever say I can do that.
Okay.
But after grad school class one time, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and some guy goes at the end of the table. It was like, I don't know, 10 of us around a long table, and he just goes, "If you got 100 BP pitches at a hitter-friendly ballpark with a metal bat, could you hit one out?" And with no hesitation, I said yes. Because you know why? I saw Nick Jonas do it at Wrigley Field, and that guy didn't look like he could swing a baseball bat. So,
well, Nick Jonas is a god among mere mortals. So
okay,
relax.
Calm down over there.
Okay.
But yeah, with a metal bat, give me 100 pitches. I'm gonna warm up to it first, and then just absolute launch one. So.
Okay.
That's like, I'm telling you, that's the two arrogant things I'll tell you. Any other sports, I'm not going to even touch feats or whatever. I don't know what those would be, but so anyway, I don't know. Well, we did talk about the Bachelorette and Bachelor, which is on tonight, and I think it already aired, so we're going to all have to go back and watch it. But I don't know if we want to like quickly do anything with that. Joe has to go.
No, I mean, we could touch on it for a couple seconds. What is wrong with me tonight? I can't even talk.
I don't
a couple
know.
secs. What am I saying? All right.
You're speaking in like text language.
Yeah. It's like I'm texting my buddies. All right. Well, I mean, what did we think about the last week's episode? Or should we save it?
Should we just do one?
How about this? Yeah, next episode, which will
Since
hopefully.
There's not much sports to talk about.
It's Monday. It's Monday, so we can probably have an episode later this week, and we can recap the first two episodes.
We can do like Bachelor heavy later this week.
That warms my heart.
Yeah, and possibly I was gonna talk about this pre us airing, but maybe there might be a guest we possibly could get on. Not sure. Bless you.
Is it Troy Brown before he gets traded?
No, it's not.
Hey, you should DM him and be like, "Hey, man, it seems like things are going pretty rocky over there. You might get traded. You think you could come on before? If so, here's our contact information."
What?
Well, speaking of the Wizards, they're up currently 23 points on the Suns, and it looks like they're going to win. There's 2 minutes left, so
on the season. I feel this is where it starts, guys.
Hey, they were 3-9.
Kamia Adams or Kamia Beal or whatever was tweeting about.
It's Kamaya, Joe, and you said it right the first time.
Kamaya is tweeting eye emojis because she thinks Brad's going to get traded.
No, anyway. She doesn't tweet eye emojis because like somebody commented something shady on her Instagram post. It has nothing to do with Bradley Beal, and if you continuously read into the fact that it's always about Bradley Beal, you're going to be continuously disappointed.
What if it's like, Clippers call?
You know how many followers she has from like Heat fans?
Probably
Like they
a
are
lot.
so quick to like jump in her comments and be
And
like,
you know why? Because she tweets eye emojis, so they
Yeah.
follow her. That is the best way to get followers. I'm tweeting eye
bet-
emojis later tonight.
Yeah, I bet you the Heat are interested. I bet you the Heat are calling.
I bet a lot of teams are interested in the guy who averages 35 points a game. Okay, so we have now makeshifted it to say next week we'll have a little more pop culture stuff in there for you. But as of now, hopefully this gets up. Hopefully this works. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this. But all right. Also, with that said, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, link in bio, at DC Sports XP on Instagram, at DC Sports XP on Twitter. 18 away from 100, and then you'll never hear about it again. I like how that's my promo. Just get to 100, and you'll never hear about it again. All right.
So we are close to 1,000.
Yeah, until we get up there. All right. Well, with that said, I'm Mike. That's Savannah and Joe. That's the DCXP podcast. See you next time.
Joe, don't leave.
Okay. I haven't left yet. I was almost going to.